That's nice.
The new episode is just around the corner, and with that comes the new dungeon, Vesper's Host. And with this being the first contest mode dungeon in Destiny history, you want to be prepared for anything it might throw at you. So today, I'll be going over everything to consider before the dungeon starts, such as subclasses, weapons, and overall builds that excel in endgame content to hopefully make the day one experience as seamless as possible. First of all, contest mode puts you at 20 power levels under the combatants you are facing. This is the equivalent to master difficulty content, so knowing how to survive in other master dungeons, nightfalls, and even raids will be very important for clearing even a single encounter. So what loadouts excel at survivability? Well, we have many options in the current sandbox. Void builds have access to invisibility, overshields, and most importantly, Devour. Devour allows you to regenerate large amounts of health almost immediately on final blows, essentially making you invincible. Pair this with easy access to either overshields or invisibility, and staying alive is suddenly trivial. The new artifact also comes with a new perk that helps Devour stay up at all times. Power from Pain allows rapid final blows to proc Devour, helping you start the gameplay loop with even less effort. Void isn't everything though. Solar 3.0 has its own fair share of features that have dominated survival builds for a long time. I'm talking about Restoration and Cure. Cure is an instant health bump that can be triggered through healing grenades and weapons with heal clip. This will save you time and time again in dodgy situations. Restoration has a few more ways of being activated, such as Fire Spikes with Ember of Mercy, and is a constant regeneration effect that cannot be interrupted by damage until the buff time has run out. The health regeneration you get is insane, essentially making you invincible to weaker attacks. If you can keep these buffs up consistently, Solar can be incredible for survivability. The final shape brought us the Prismatic subclass, and this is where things get really good. Prismatic allows you to mix and match buffs from different subclasses to find a mix that is perfect for anyone's playstyle. With access to invisibility, restoration, cure, and overshields, you can easily find a mix of aspects and fragments that suit your playstyle. At the end of the day, being comfortable with your build is key for survivability in Destiny. A wildcard pick you should be prepared to use is Stasis. The new artifact seems to be centered around Stasis, with many new perks providing interesting benefits that might just become the new meta. With easier access to Frost Armor than ever before with Wind Chill, and Frost Armor being granted plenty of extra benefits, it might just be the play for some of the day one dungeon. But subclasses aren't everything. Most of us already have builds that we are comfortable with. The real question is, what weapons should you be bringing into the new dungeon? We don't exactly know what we'll be facing, so you need to be ready for anything. Firstly, for contest mode you're going to need to be on top of all ad clear duties, as letting yourself get overrun by ads is a surefire way of causing a wipe. Luckily, we have some great options both from the past and some more recent. Let's start with grenade launchers. Episode Echoes brought us the Lost Signal, the first area denial frame grenade launcher, and it's basically a craftable legendary Witherhoard. With great perks like auto-loading holster, it's an amazing choice for low tier ad clear. Lost Signal also builds Darkness Transcendence energy incredibly quickly for those of you that have builds that rely heavily on Transcendence. There really isn't anything else like it in the game just yet. The next best option is a Waveframe grenade launcher. Echoes brought us Martyr's Retribution, but nothing quite beats the old trusted Forbearance. With health regeneration built in with the Soul Drinker Origin perk, it's great for extra survivability, and there isn't much like it for great ad clear potential. Chain Reaction will allow you to wipe entire rooms of ads quite effortlessly, which is great when facing new unknown content. A fairly recent addition to Destiny has been Rocket Sidearms, and until they eventually get nerfed, there really isn't a better choice for primary style weapons that can clear entire ad waves with ease. We currently have 3 Rocket Sidearms in Destiny: Aberrant Action, Indebted Kindness, and the Cool. Aberrant Action was introduced in Episode Echoes and is craftable, and considering it rolls with heal clip, it might be one of the best choices for day one content going forward. There really is no easier way to proc Cure in the current sandbox. On top of this, we can roll Incandescent to really bring the rocket in Rocket Sidearm to life. Incandescent applies Scorch and Ignitions to targets, creating large AoE effects that can really help with clearing a room whilst being very ammo efficient. Another option is the Cool. Now, the Cool is the only Rocket Sidearm in the kinetic slot, but just because it's the only choice does not mean it's a bad one. With perks like Lead from Gold available, you can use the Cool as a primary without having to worry about running out of ammo so much, allowing you to run double special for extra damage potential against high difficulty combatants. In a situation like a dungeon, I think this is entirely fine, as we have raid banners to provide ammo at the start of an encounter, meaning that you won't have to worry about ammo efficiency all that much. And last of all for ad clear is machine guns. Now, not all encounters will necessarily allow the use of a machine gun, as boss DPS could be an important hurdle that is hard to overcome on contest mode without optimal damage rotations. But if the occasion allows it, machine guns are ad clear monsters. For a long time now, Commemoration has been the best legendary machine gun in the game. It's craftable with great perks from the Deepstone Crypt raid, but it's not necessarily the easiest option to get anymore. A great alternative is Pro Memoria. Pro Memoria comes from the Pale Heart and is also craftable, with its own set of very good perks for ad clear duties. It's unique being a heavy frame machine gun. There isn't anything else like it. It hits hard and shoots fast. What else do you need from an ad clear machine gun? Did you think I'd forget Choir of One? Yeah, this thing is literally broken, so if you don't have it already, get it. You'll thank me later on the day 1 dungeon grind. With contest mode having enrage mechanics ending encounters if you don't do damage fast enough, DPS will actually be incredibly important in this year's dungeon race. And going in blind means we need to be ready for all types of damage scenarios. First of all, we have sword damage. Now this isn't exactly common in Destiny anymore, but it's very possible that one or more of the encounters in Vesper's host will potentially be vulnerable to sword DPS. Your options for this are quite wide. A good ergo sum will help any fireteam do great damage in sword-based strategies, but it can be incredibly tedious to grind for, so many people might not have a role they like just yet. The easiest option to acquire is Falling Guillotine from Onslaught Focusing. There are many good roles, and you really don't need the god role to be doing exceptional damage if the situation arises. It will be good to have one lying around just in case. A more likely possibility involves precision damage. It is much more frequent in past dungeons and raids that the best damage strategies involve precision damage, and we have some great weapons in Destiny to fulfill this role. Still Hunt was introduced in the final shape, and any hunters out there already know just how much damage potential this weapon has whilst only taking up the special weapon slot, allowing you to use a heavy machine gun for ad clear at the same time. This will be incredibly handy during contest mode before everyone has the dungeon truly figured out. Still Hunt makes the most sense on Hunter, although it can still be viable in other classes, there are better options. Whisper of the Worm has great DPS with incredibly high total damage for single weapon damage strategies. And for bosses with consistent crit spots, there aren't many simpler options. All you have to do is point and click. There is no need for any fancy rotations. You don't even have to reload. Anyone can use Whisper of the Worm, and that's what makes it so great for a day 1 experience. There will probably be other things you should be thinking about instead of complicated damage rotations, like the actual mechanics. Now we have our bases covered, the most likely day 1 damage strategies will involve rockets. Even with the reconstruction nerfs, they are the tried and true simple option, and the long-time best rocket in the game is Apex Predator. Apex Predator is from the Last Wish raid, but it's been so long that by now most of the active player base already has one. Rocket rotations have always been great damage in Destiny, but right now, for most encounters, they are simply the best. So make sure you have at least one rocket ready for Vesper's host. It's almost guaranteed that you'll need it. And that's pretty much it. You can always bring an eager-edged sword for movement, but I doubt that will be that useful for day 1. Contest mode is a marathon, not a sprint, so don't get disheartened if you don't succeed at first. It's meant to take a long time for the vast majority of players. Don't forget to enjoy yourself. We are meant to play games for fun at the end of the day. And thank you so much for watching. Bye!